Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President of International Truck, Michael Cancelliere.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the International Truck Display at the 2019 North American Commercial Truck Show. You know, as we all know, NACV is a great place to preview upcoming technology advancements in the industry and network with both peers and suppliers. But it's also to remember about our drivers, okay? Drivers are the lifeblood of our industry. And let me just tell you a little bit about the industry and why they're so important. Think about this. Trucking is a $700 billion industry. There's nearly 9 million people employed in the industry, and almost 2 million of them are driving tractor trailers across this great country of ours. These folks are hauling 11 billion tons of freight a year. That's over 70% of all of the freight transported throughout America. It's hauled by truck drivers. They're the lifeline between producers and consumers, hauling everything from the gas in our cars to the milk that's on our breakfast table or dinner tables, if you have young kids. And they have a very difficult job. They're often driving over 100,000 miles a year. They could be away from their home and their family for days on end. And all that really is to say that this country depends a whole lot on drivers, like the ones I'm going to introduce up here in a minute. And that's the reason at International, we believe it's absolutely vital to listen, understand, and deliver what's important for the drivers to safely do their jobs. Today, you're going to have the pleasure of hearing directly from drivers themselves about their thoughts, the issues they face, their views on the industry, and their views on the future. So panelists, please join me up on stage. Okay, well, welcome again, everyone. And let me start, Ingrid, start with you. I had the opportunity to spend some time last night with all the panelists, and they're just an amazing and impressive group of folks. And when you hear their backgrounds and history and their thoughts, I think you'll share my feelings as well. So, Ingrid, you've had quite a career, almost 40 years and 4 million miles of driving. You've had more, I could just spend all the time here listing your accomplishments, but that wouldn't be fair to the other folks. But here's a couple. You started and continue to run your own company, Rollin LLC. You're a 2015 National Association of Small Trucking Companies Woman Driver of the Year, and on their 2015 Driver of the Year team. You're currently the voice of safety for FMCSA's Our Roads, Our Safety ad campaign, and a whole bunch of other things. So Ingrid, tell us a little bit about your work with FMCSA and why safety is such a passion point for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Mr. Michael. I was elected, or selected, I should say, from FMCSA in 2018 out of many people in the country. And I am actually what I guess you would call the poster child. There's billboards, there's radio, but my thing is I have passion of the safety side of, that's my biggest part of the industry. Safety affects not just us as drivers, safety affects you as individuals on the highway beside each one of us. It affects your children, my grandchildren, it affects every one of us. So, you know what, if I can stay safe, then that means that I can keep you safe.
Wow, that's, your passion clearly comes through. Bill, let's hear from you a little bit. You've had a great career. You've been driving with Werner since 1999, more than 1.5 million accident-free miles with them. You were named ATA's 2019-2020 to America's Road Team. And obviously, speaking of safety, that's one of the big themes of the Road Team. Tell us a little bit about how you got selected for that team and the work you're doing with them, please.
Yes, Michael, thank you for that. To be selected an American Trucking Association's Road Team Captain once every 2 years, they go through a selection process where they take over 2,000 applications, and you have to be related to a carrier that is a member with the association or an independent association and be a member of that. And during that process, they'll select from the best of the driving records out there. And trust me, folks, it's got to be impeccable, the elite, to get elected to this organization. So out of the 2,000 applicants, once every 2 years, they select roughly 28 to 30 people to come to Arlington, Virginia, where you'll go through a 3-day orientation process, a selection process. And out of that 30 people, only 18 of us or so are selected as drivers and road team captains for the American Trucking Association. It is a great honor to what we do here to help educate anyone that has a license and shares the road out there with us as professional drivers.
Wow. You'd also mentioned some of the training you do. You're also a certified professional trainer, is that correct?
That is correct. I do take on the new driver coming into the industry, educate them, train them. We coach them. We build them in how to be a professional, safe driver on America's roadways.
So that's got to be a good feeling of fulfillment.
It's a proud feeling to be involved in that process, involving nurturing and building our future drivers of America.
Great.
And passing that information forward.
Great. Thank you very much, Bill. So let's turn to our third driver on a panel, Josh Nichols from Paper Transport, based in northern Wisconsin. Josh, you've been with PTI over 15 years and have nearly 2 million miles with them, consistently rated among their top drivers. And like Bill, you're also one of their driver trainers. So tell me a little bit about your experience and what you like about training new drivers.
Well, thank you, Michael. Like Bill here, I've been on the road for almost 20 years. I've got over 20 million or 2 million career miles. And one of the aspects that I love about training is allowing myself to be able to influence the new drivers coming into the industry, because there's such an influx of people coming into the industry to be drivers. And they're just simply being drivers in a profession. They're simply doing a job. And I want to take them and mold them, not simply to be drivers in a profession, but to be professional drivers. And that's the difference between having a job and having a career. And if we can simply influence one of those drivers, and me and Ingrid were talking earlier, over the course of my life as a trainer on the road, if I can influence maybe 100 of those individuals to be the professional drivers that we want them to be, then they could influence others and hopefully over the long term slowly change the face of the industry.
So Josh, I'm going to give you a little bit of an impromptu question that you've opened a door for me here to do so. When you talk about your passion for influence and helping people, Josh gave me his business card last night, and my only suggestion to him was you may need 2 business cards to put all the things on there that represent your credentials. Would you mind just briefly sharing some additional background on some of your passions and commitments?
On the side, I am a ordained pastor. I pastor a church, a little small country church. And one of the benefits of driving a truck is, believe it or not, we do have a lot of downtime. We have to take our 10-hour breaks, sitting at shippers and receivers, waiting to get loaded and unloaded. And over the course of the 15 years that I've been with Paper Transport, I've received 3 doctorate degrees. I have a PhD in systematic theology, I have a doctor of theology, and I have a doctor of ministry. And so I wanted to make myself better. I wanted to improve myself. And so instead of sitting around playing games, watching television, chit-chatting on the radio or the cell phone, I committed myself to better my intellect and to better my knowledge in the pursuit of what I wanted to. And that's how I've got those degrees.
Well, thank you, Josh, Bill, and Ingrid for being with us today. So I'm going to turn next to Chris Ito, who was a design director for International Truck and now has to follow a man who has 3 doctorate degrees. so Chris, tell us a little bit about what you do at International Truck.
Well, Michael, I can't top that, but I'll have to say that I'm fortunate to be able to come to work every day, and I surround myself with an incredibly talented and dedicated team. and they're developing new product concepts for the future. My role as design director is to lead that creative team to develop new products that create a functional and an emotional tie-in to our customers. And the way we do that is come up with creative solutions that strike a balance between customer requirements, functional requirements, and cost targets. And our goal is to create a product that creates a great user experience that our drivers, such as our guests here, want to drive.
So Chris, I hear you talk a lot, and we talk a lot about the voice of the customer to drive engineering, design, and choices. Could you share some examples of how we go about capturing that driver input and then implementing it into our new products?
Yeah, recently we updated the cabin interior of the LT, and there was a lot of voice of the customer interaction on that. We did a lot of benchmarking of current production and competitive products. And then we sent out some surveys to drivers and some of our customers to get some feedback on current products. And then that led into developing some full-size models. Okay. In parallel to that, we actually had an opportunity to send two of our chief designers to one of our customers. And they spent a whole day there talking with drivers and actually spending some time inside their trucks and observing how they use their trucks, where they're putting things. And that really helped us in starting a good start on recreating our interiors. Once we had our interior models, we were actually able to, I think we had another 100 data points on bringing our customers in, and really they influenced our product significantly. We changed our interior model. Basic theme was the same, but just doing minor adjustments, and it's the little details that make a big difference, probably 4 times. Sure. And we had an opportunity to take our interior model, and at that point it was a cabin interior and sleeper, to one of our customers, and it happened to be JB Hunt, and they were having a employee appreciation day, and so we were able to set up a tent, and we had drivers come in and provide us feedback, and so the LT that we have today was a result of that.
Right. Well, so yeah, it was designed with the driver in mind, and back to our drivers. So Ingrid, you've been checking out a lot of our trucks lately. Appreciate your thoughts on the design of the LT or the interior.
Well, you know what I got. You know I cannot resist this. I mean, this is like become my favorite. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it on. Most know that I don't drive an International, but I'll tell you, I've been looking. I'm very interested in it, and the thing is I'm finding when we went through it yesterday, the difference in the fuse panels, the difference in the storage space, the difference in the way the seat fits, the difference in the way my view has completely turned me around of how the International would fit my life and would fit my way, and to utilize everything I do, from pulling a reefer to pulling a couch trailer to everything else. But you're selling me really fast.
Well, I'll tell you what, thank you, Ingrid. As we like to say, the best selling, the best advertising is satisfied drivers and satisfied customers. So you're actually helping me, so thank you for that. I'm going to give you another hat later, okay? So there's one more panelist that I want to introduce. It's absolutely clear to everybody here that not only is it important to drivers is the support they get from the OEMs that design the products, but when they're on the road. So I'd like to turn for a moment to our final panelist, Dan Jensen with Love's Truck Stops. Dan's been with Love's. Say Dan's been in Love, but that's a little personal. Dan's been with Love's in various roles for almost 19 years. Welcome, Dan. And early this year, as hopefully everybody knows, Love's International entered a partnership. So Love's is now performing warranty work on international trucks. It's kind of a unique partnership, and I know you were involved in it. Can you share with the audience a little bit about how it came about and how you see this partnership benefits drivers throughout the country, please?
Absolutely, and thanks for having us, Michael. At Love's, everything we do starts with the customer and wanting to be their stop of choice. And we know International shares that same deep commitment to the customer, and just seemed like a natural fit for the two of us together. You know, for example, we both put a lot of focus into convenience, uptime, and training. And so, again, it seemed like a natural fit, and it should be a big win for everybody involved, the fleets, the drivers, International, and Loves. And, you know, I think time and money is very important to the fleets, and this gives them a service provider over the road that they know will get them back up and running quickly.
That's great. And speaking of service provider, when it comes to vehicle maintenance, what trends are you seeing these days?
Yeah, you know, I don't know that we necessarily see any new trends. I mean, you know, uptime, again, is the most important thing. But what I do think will change is the customer experience through technology. And so at Love's, we're always trying to stay ahead with our systems and updating our systems. An example of that would be, you know, we're going to integrate in the future with the International 360, which I think you'll be announcing later this week. But it's also important to us too, is that personal touch we have with the customer, and you know, Love's prides itself on its highway hospitality, and you know, we don't want technology to get in the way of that personal touch.
Right. Well, so any of the drivers here have experience with Love's?
I love Love's.
Okay.
Love's is my go-to stop because I run regional. You know, I run Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and you're available. You're close by. You don't have the truck stops, you know, spaced out too far apart. The Love's app that we can check in with our showers, we can purchase our fuel off of the Love's app and never have to get out of the truck. You know, I'm a Love's man. I love my Love's.
Thank you.
You've got your next spokesperson.
I've found the same thing. I mean, I've found that, you know, uptime is really big for me because I just have the one truck and one trailer.
Yeah.
So being down means, you know, the world to me. And I started using Love's, really started using the service center since oil changes and being able to go in, not just tires. You know, I use tires, but the service centers, thank you. I mean, they have really, because I mean, I'm in, I'm out. That's, I mean, it's done.
Yep. That's great. Bill, would you agree?
Yes, I do use Love's also, and the most intriguing thing when it comes to vendors servicing the trucking environment is you make it personable. You let us know you appreciate us using your facilities, and that is high on my to-do list, is to show you my honor for that service you provide. Thank you.
Well, thank all of you.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's, again, that wasn't even a scripted question. That's quite a testament to Dan, you and your organization, and it makes us feel even better about our partnership with Love's. As a result of the partnership, we now have over 1,000 locations throughout North America to service our trucks and take care of drivers and provide great uptime between the International Dealer Network and the Love's Network. So let's turn, let's get off the Love's commercial for a minute and get back to our drivers. You know, as we all know, trucks have advanced a lot in a short period of time, and they continue to advance in years to come. You've all been around a while, so Bill, when you think about trucking and technology, what comes to mind?
As a seasoned driver, which we all here at the panel are, technology really enhances our ability to be a safe professional driver. There are so many distractions going on out there, it's impossible to manually account for every activity that's going while behind the steering wheel. So we rely on some of these technologies to kind of catch our back six back there, make sure we're going to be okay, and alert us when we might be a bit distracted looking out for another passing motorist, to alert us that maybe a problem or a hazard may up and be coming.
Okay. So Josh, same question to you. Tell us a little bit about some of the technology you're using.
Well, like Bill, our truck is equipped with a collision mitigation system, the lane departure system. But one thing that I love about my company, Paper Transport, is we've integrated a tablet into the truck so that we can use the tablet to manage our logs and our hours of service. We can also use it for our routing and trip planning because, believe it or not, I don't have a GPS in my truck. I actually route out everything, and I have that in my memory as I'm driving down the road because one thing I can't stand is to be distracted. Like I was telling them, I don't have anything on my dash, I have nothing on my windows, so that way I have a clear view of everything that's going on, and that way I know where I'm going and I'm not always constantly looking at a GPS. And another real unique feature about the tablet is we can do our training videos. We can have video conferencing with the office. I can look my driver manager eye to eye, as it were, as we have video interface. And so the tablet integration into this truck, for me as a driver, having that personal and that one-on-one communication with the corporate office makes the company feel as a little bit smaller than it really is. It keeps that small town feel to the company.
Okay, good. So Ingrid, I suspect you have an opinion about everything?
I do.
We'd love
Mine's a little bit different, actually, a whole lot different.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on technology.
First thing I think of when I think about technology is cell phone. Because we didn't have cell phones whenever I started driving in '79. It was put the coins in the payphone, and it was then 800 numbers, and then it was calling cards, and we all know the process. Cell phone, I still run, my logbook is on my cell phone. In looking at how this has evolved and how it has given us that basis to call Love's, to call somebody to come for help or whatever. Of course, that's made a huge change. At the same time, I kind of have the thing about technology when you start going into when is there too much technology on a truck? Because when are you going to end up making someone that they become lazy? In other words, kind of like, I don't need to watch that mirror because that buzzer will go off. Well, by the time the buzzer goes off, something's already happening. So I think, starting with teaching people how to watch these things and using that, and then the technology kicks in, and it's a fantastic thing once they understand how to use it. Is amazing. It's fantastic.
Good. That makes sense. So I've noticed there's one piece of technology I thought somebody would have brought up, but nobody's brought up yet.
An ELD.
ELD. ELD. Well, I guess the ELD debate will continue for sure. But Dan, speaking of technology, tell us a little bit about, I know Love's has built a really cool app for drivers. Tell us a little bit about it. How did you design it, and what are some of the benefits you're seeing for drivers?
Yeah. Again, being that the driver's time's at a premium, we kept that in mind when we designed our Love's Connect app. And, it gives the drivers a lot of ability. They can, for example, one of the things they can do is they can look and see what locations have the shortest shower time so that they can better optimize their planning where they're going to stop. It also gives them the ability for mobile pay, so they can pull up, pay right at the pump, and just keep rolling. They can look up amenities, for what restaurant they want to choose, so they can plan their route around that, or what capabilities each of our shops have. So it gives them a lot of choice. It has route planning, and all of that came from feedback from the drivers. We keep that in mind when we're building it and what's next in the app. It's really driven around the drivers.
So is there a formal process inside of Love's to get feedback from drivers, or is it more informal, collected from just talking to drivers and then feeding it back to a marketing department or something like that?
Yeah, so we do a lot of things. I mean, we do surveys with fleets, with drivers. We have a customer, like a 1-800 number where somebody can call or they can email us. and via the app, they can give us feedback there through the website. So there's plenty of options in how they can reach out. And again, we're a very customer-centric company, so we always want to hear what the customer, be it the driver or the fleet, has to say.
Great. Well, so panelists, if you haven't already, make sure that you download your Loves app. I have my Loves app. So Chris, you have your Loves app?
I do.
Okay, all right. So Chris, a lot of talk about safety. I think one thing we'd all agree is that the most important safety feature on the truck is the driver, okay? But beyond that, it's about safety for drivers and safety for others on the road, and that's certainly important to us as well. Maybe you could share some of the design innovations that you've put into our trucks that we've led in the area of safety.
Sure. Yeah, Michael, when we develop an interior environment, we start out with ergonomics guidelines, and typically what that is it establishes sight lines and reach zones, and we accommodate 95th percentile, both male and female. And so we use that as the starting guidelines, and when we did so not only for switches, but displays. And when we were doing the development for the LT, we actually had a number of different cluster designs that we were looking at. And so part of the voice of the customer feedback was identifying where the drivers wanted to prioritize the information on either warning zones or depth levels, tach versus speedometer. And so we went through several iterations. We actually made full-size mock-ups and then did overlays on the interior buck. And after probably 2 or 3 rounds of evaluation, again, similar to what I mentioned earlier, the cluster layout is what we see today in the production.
Okay. So you've heard Dan talk about customer centricity. We at International are also very focused about customer centricity. But I'd say even beyond that, we use the term driver first. I mean, driver first was designed with the LT, and we go talk to customers. More than ever, they talk about the role that the driver has in the purchase decision. I've been doing this many years, and I can tell you up until very recently, I hadn't heard that consistent theme. So again, a credit to the drivers and the voice you have, not only within International, but within the companies that you work for. So Chris, if you were just going to sum up driver first, what does that mean to you?
Well, we're determined to develop products that drivers want to drive.
Okay.
And so, for example, when we were developing the exterior grab handle, for example, or the door handle, that was important for us as a product because that's the first interface that our customers have with our truck. I refer to that as a handshake.
Yeah.
But the functional part of it is there is such a broad range of hand sizes.
Right,
I mean, you can kind of see it here today. We have 6'5" to, I don't remember how tall you are, Ingrid, maybe 5'2" or 5'3". And we actually went through, even internally, we vetted out different sizes and shapes because it also can impact safety as well. We don't want any of our customers to slip.
Right.
So the shape of the handle and whether it had different contours were real critical. So what we had done, we did a series of mock-ups, probably between 6 and 8. We put on a full-size board, put it in driver position, and then we down-selected from there. And so we had a second round. We had some really good feedback in terms of different shapes, even from what we thought was right. We combined some things, and we ended up creating the surface that we have today, and it becomes we think, a very good handshake. We were evaluating it this morning, weren't we?
Yes, sir.
Good stuff.
I'd like to add, Ingrid, we also, during that evaluation, we had a mix of male and female drivers as well.
Yeah.
So
I got an idea. Rather than you and I having a conversation with each other about driver first, why don't we ask some of our drivers?
Yeah.
Bill, what does driver first mean to you?
I like to hear it when a OEM manufacturing person or company entity is actually listening to the driver, putting that driver first, putting driver safety first. As a driver, I look at safety. I look at efficiency. I look at image. I look at essentiality. With efficiency, the bottom line is on time, on dime.
Right.
When it comes to image, how can we as parents sit down at the dinner table and talk to our children about what the trucking industry means to us as a consumer? And during the holidays, like we're coming up now, how do we get that image into the family when we sit down for family gatherings and talk about image of the trucking industry? How do we bring a positive image back to that industry? We talk about essentiality. Essentiality meaning a sustainable, on-time delivery. We look at like powering electricity. We throw a switch. We expect power to come on, be at our fingertip. In the trucking industry, with essentiality, through a keystroke, how can we guarantee on-time service and delivery through a keystroke about a trucking company getting goods from point A to point B, and everyone that's associated with the industry and making that happen, either through a vending solution, through truck service and plazas, all the way into engineering and making it happen, because we don't want to be sitting on the side of the road having to explain to the customer how come his product didn't get where it is. And that's what we bring to the industry with essentiality.
That's great. First, I have to comment. I think everybody here can hear the pride that comes through in all of your answers, really, of your profession, which is, it was a surprise as to why you're up here. That is really awesome. It makes us feel great about what we do and challenges us that there's more we could do to continue to listen to the driver. Josh, driver first. What's it mean to you?
Well, to echo everybody else up here, really we want to focus in on safety first. Paper Transport has a motto or something they drill into us is it's safety first, safety always. And so we want to feel safe when we're getting in and out of the truck. We want to feel safe as we're moving about in the truck, moving from the sleeper to the driver or the passenger seat and vice versa. Me and Chris were talking earlier when we were going through the LT design. You know, I'm a big guy. And one thing that I have to look out for is my leg swing when I move from the driver's seat back to the sleeper. And, you know, whether my foot gets caught or something like that. And that can be a safety issue for me in the truck where I might, you know, trip and fall over my own feet simply because of the design of the truck. And so not only is it safety first, but it's also comfortable, you know, how comfortable we are in the truck. Because if we're not sleeping well or if we're uncomfortable in the driver's seat, then that's going to be a distraction for us as we're driving down the road. You know, I'm sitting here trying to get, you know, settled in my seat, you know, while I'm driving. That can become a safety issue because I'm uncomfortable. And so driver first is focusing primarily on safety and also being comfortable.
Okay, thank you. Ingrid, anything you'd like to add to that about driver first?
You know what? You and Navistar have put drivers first right here today.
Okay.
And I don't think I could even ask for two better people to be sitting beside of me to represent what I love more in this world, and that's trucking.
Well, thank you, Ingrid, and we're so pleased that you're all here. But so, you know, being that you shared with me what you had for breakfast this morning, I feel like I could get a little personal with you now. Okay? Well, I'm going to. I understand. It's not exactly what it says here.
Thanks, Mr. Michael. Should have put that hat back on.
But she did share what she had for breakfast. Sounded very good. I understand you have a lot of involvement in charitable organizations, including the Special Olympics, Trucker Buddy International, and more. And this coming May, you're involved in a special upcoming fundraiser. Tell us a little bit about it and why this one is personal for you, please.
In June 1st of 2017, I was diagnosed with metastatic melanoma. I've gone through 7 surgeries. I have a third of my throat and my lower tongue removed a year ago, and I was right back in a truck. It kind of runs in the family. My brother has it. My grandfather passed with it, my aunt. But the thing is this isn't just something that I have. This isn't just something that is hereditary. This is something that affects drivers and affects you as a car or a person that drives, because sun creates this on the other side of melanoma. So I kind of got mad. I haven't been mad in 2 years because I had cancer, okay? I just went along with the flow. I got mad. I woke up the next morning and I thought, I'm selfish. I decided that the best thing I could do was give back. So I went and I worked with several people in the industry and have them on board, and worked to where in Morris, Illinois at the TA on May 16th, we're going to be having a charity benefit, and every proceed will go directly to a driver that vets for cancer. It does not matter what kind. Because you know, I was the person that was sitting there that needed $157 to pay a light bill because I was out of work for 9 months. I own my own company. There wasn't nothing I could do. So if I can give somebody $157 and that's all I come up with, my life's complete.
Wow. I told you it was an impressive panel. Wow, that is just it. You know, we're having a happy hour later after this, and I hope all you folks will be kind enough to hang around with us for a while. So if anybody here wants to meet any of our panelists or talk to Ingrid about how they could get involved and support her charity next May, please feel free to introduce herself to you this afternoon. So let's shift gears one more time. Drivers, the stage is yours. You all have the microphones. This is your chance, as if you didn't already do it, but to tell everybody here what you love about your job, but more so the one thing or something that you wish everybody in this room or in this world that wasn't a truck driver truly understood about, you know, life as a driver. Bill, let's start with you.
Thank you. Life as a driver for me in today's world, as it falls on my shift, I come from a generation of drivers. My grandfather, my dad, my uncles. I grew up in the industry. For it to happen on my shift, to be on this stage, sharing with you my experiences as life out on that road, is at the top of my list. And not only with just this audience, but anytime I encounter someone as an independent person out on the street, in a busy store, we're wearing our uniform, we're proudly displaying who we honor as far as our carriers and the associations that we're aligned with, in reaffirming that safety is everyone's responsibility. What I do today gives me that platform to do that with a level of respect. That person's going to listen to me and take what I have to say and take it back home to share with their families. And I think that's something we're missing in our today's society, is the disconnect between family and safety. Because for some reason, we think we're supposed to send that person off to a school or an institution to learn safety, when in fact, we should be teaching it at home with our children as they grow up. And today, being a professional driver, it enables me to be able to do that further than just being a parent and a grandparent and go out and talk with strangers, people I may not know. And I always got a little cliche I always carry out, and as if you had 15 minutes to spend with someone and you'll never meet that person again ever in your life, what would you say to that person? Wow. And that's where I take this as a professional driver.
Wow. You guys are just all awesome. That is fantastic. Josh, same question.
One thing that I love about the industry, I'm not like Bill, I'm not a generational driver. I'm a product of the dot-com bust in late 2000. I used to be a network operations supervisor, and when the dot-com bubble went bust, I had to look for something as more stable than the IT industry. And so I got into trucking, and a lot of my friends would ask me, it's like, how can you go from this over to this industry? And I tell them, well, it's all just a matter of perspective. You know, I look at it this way. I get up and go to work when I want. I wear what I want. I got a corner office with a window view. I've got a bed in my office. I can lay down, take a nap. I get a company vehicle. I get paid to travel. I mean, I'm sure that those are perks that, you know, Michael here gets. But you know,
hiring?
But it's all a matter of perspective and bringing that perspective to the industry. And I just love driving a truck because of all the different, variables that you're going to face out there on the road, because it changes sometimes even from hour to hour when you're facing traffic or you're facing the weather. And so it's a challenge to get up and go to work every day because you don't know what you're going to be facing. And one of the things that I would wish that other people would know about being a truck driver is really how hard we work. I mean, most people are working, 8 to 5, maybe even 7 to 5 o'clock, but you're going home to your families every day. We're working 13, 14 hours a day, day after day after day after day. We're sleeping off shifts. We could be running on Monday morning during the day, and by Wednesday we're running all night Wednesday night. And just the toll that takes on our bodies from shifting our sleep patterns to working 14 hours a day, sometimes even 15 hours a day. Because the hours of service limit when you can drive, doesn't limit how long you can work. You can work 17, 18 hours a day. You just can't drive afterwards. And so really we spend a lot of our time working hard, and I just wish that was something that we could pass on to other people.
Wow. Well, certainly you've effectively done it with this group here, so way to go, thank you. Ingrid, same question. What would you like the rest of the world to know about a day in the life?
Besides, I love my hat. Anyway, I don't have to truck. I love to truck. I love this industry. I love the people in this industry. There's not anybody in this industry that doesn't have a passion in some way, or you wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. Mr. Michael, you wouldn't be here.
I would. I love when you call me that.
Okay. You just lost me. But anyway, Bill really topped it when he talked about putting things back in life that need to be put back in.
Right.
Josh has touched so much on the fact of, being a driver and what our trials and what our days are like. No 2 days are alike.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we get up, like you said, at 9 and come home at 5 and all that. But, I think the whole essence of being a driver is the fact that it takes all of y'all to make sure that we are able to be a driver. It takes you and Navistar to make sure we can drive. If I could tell anybody in this world what I want them to know, there's a positive in every negative. It's just that you might have to put in some effort and some work to find it. It doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah. That's your outlook has the ability to affect your day every day. All right, excellent. Well, I'll tell you what a great place to finish this discussion. I'd like to thank our drivers, Bill, Ingrid, Josh. Thanks to Chris Ito and Dan. Thank you for everybody in the audience for attending. As I mentioned, we have a hospitality hour right after this, so I hope you'll be able to stick around. And there's one other thing I just want to say, Ingrid, in recognition and appreciation of all the work you do for charities and your upcoming event in May. On behalf of our CEO, Troy Clark and Navistar, you can count on us to donate $1,000 to your charity this coming May. All right? How about a round of applause for all of our panelists? Thank you, audience, for joining us, and please join us for the hospitality hour as well. Thank you.